So good morning. So now we can start our class. Okay. So this is our second lecture day. Actually, in the first class we have. Hello. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am, you are
Yes,
audible.
ma'am.
Okay. So in the first lecture, we have started the introduction. I think the Shuntu sir has already started his class. Okay. Shuntu sir started.
Yes, ma'am.
So today is our second lecture. So first lecture we have just give the introduction, and there was a problem, network issue was there. So just I recapitulate the introduction class and we'll go to the second part. So I am sharing the screen. Screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the first lecture, just we have introduced just the introduction of wireless communication. It's what is actually communication, then the history of the wireless communication, and the advantage, disadvantage of the wireless communication, different generation of the wireless communication, and their frequency, bandwidth, all these things already discussed, and your fading, that means what are the different kind of attenuation due to the fading. The signal strength is false in case of your wireless communication system, that is already discussed. That is, and also we have discussed the advantage of the coding. That means, as I have said, that my portion is the channel coding. Okay. So where the channel coding is used in case of wireless communication, and what is the advantage of using the channel coding in wireless communication system, that thing already I have discussed in your first lecture, and already I have sent the first lecture note already sent to you. Also the different kind of the channel coding, that's the introduction I have given in the first lecture. So error control coding, ECC means error control coding, and in the error control coding there are two parts. One is error detection part and another is your error correction part. So some of the coding has the only error detection part is there, along with that is the channel coding, means you are adding the redundant bit along with information bit. So obviously it increases the channel it increases the information bandwidth, because information along with your, when you transmit the coded information, so obviously code length will be increases because of the adding the redundant bit. So some of the coding techniques only add the error detection code, and some of the error control coding technique add the redundant bit, that is the error detection code as well as error correction code. So obviously for that cases the bandwidth requirement also be increases, but it has some advantage over the only the error detection coding techniques. So there are two types of coding technique already we have discussed, that is ARQ and the forward error correction. ARQ is automatic repeat request, where is the depending on the request from the receiver, there is a retransmission of the information. So in this case only along with the information, the redundant bit that is added, that is the error detection code, not error correction code. And for that cases, so obviously there will be the delay in the communication, because every time the receiver check whether there is an error in the information that is received by the receiver. If the error is there is no error is detected, so obviously it will be again send some acknowledgement signal towards the transmitter that the signal that is received is errorless information. So you again you will send the next packet of information. So obviously there will be the delay in information in case of the ARQ technique. So to overcome the delay, that means we are going to forwards the high processing stage, so and high data rate communication. So obviously you have to increase the speed of your communication. So that's why. So if delay is not tolerable, so obviously you have to go for the forward error correction. In case of forward error correction, so the error detection code along with the error correction code is added. So obviously more redundancy you are adding. So obviously the bandwidth requirement to transmit that information is much more higher than your automatic repeat request. But it is advantageous compared to your ARQ techniques. And just a minute. So already that thing also we discussed in the first lecture, that the different types of forward error correction coding techniques you can classify into block code and the tree code. Block code is a memory-less code, where tree code or the convolution code is your memory code, and that convolution code can be analyzed by using the state diagram. That is it is called a state machine, because it is a memory code. And the block code can also be classified into binary code and the non-binary code. And obviously the convolution code is much more efficient compared to the block code, but that will be depending on the error that occurs in case of the communication channel. So different types of communication channel, there are different types of error. So depending on your channel, or depending on the channel, the error that is occurred within the channel. So based on that, you have to choose your coding techniques. That is, either it may be the block code or it may be the convolution code. So convolution code also be binary code and non-binary code. And the coding techniques, if it is a binary block code or the tree code or convolution code, both can be designed by systematic way and the non-systematic way. Systematic way means there is some rules is followed. That means suppose the first, if a packet of information, first, if I say the 8-bit of packet, so first 6 bits suppose the information, and the last 2 bit with your redundancy bit that is used for your coding purpose. That means you are adding the redundancy bit, that is the last 2 bit. Or you can add the first 2 bit as redundant bit and the next 6 bits are the information bits. This is the systematic way of addition of your redundancy within your information. But in case of non-systematic way of coding techniques, you can choose the random bit. You can add the redundant bit along with the information bit, and that coded information you transmit through the channel. And in the tree code or convolution code, so it is actually a memory code, and for that case, the hardware implementation of encoder, you know that the encoder is in the transmitter section and decoder is the receiver section, and both the coding and decoding, it is called coder. Coder means there must be a coding as well as the decoding. So encoder and decoder in combination is called coder. So in case of your convolution coder, so for that is the encoder part, that is when you encode the information, that means at the receiver section, transmitter section. So you can design the hardware implementation, it is possible, but the decoding technique mostly is soft decision technique. That is it is based on the software, so algorithm based, and mostly it is the Viterbi algorithm or Vitari algorithm, whatever you say, that is used. And this is mostly used in case of your mobile communication. Turbo code and your trellis code both are based on the tree code or the convolution code. And in case of the block code, there are Hamming code, Bose-Chaudhary code, a non-binary code, Rich-Solomon code. Rich-Solomon code is mostly used in case of when in the channel there is a burst error. Burst error means number of bits chunk, there is an error. So for that cases, Reed-Solomon code is very, very effective. So based on your channel condition or channel characteristics, you have to choose the coding techniques. So I have already this thing already said in the last lecture that the turbo code is used in the 4G communication, and low density code, that is, and the polar code. Polar code is nowadays very, very useful in case of 5G standard. So now I will be talking about the types of error. I am saying that depending on the channel characteristics, or depending on the error associated, that is when you transmit through the channel the information, how much what type of error is occurs within the information when it's propagated through the channel. Based on that, you have to choose the coding techniques. So that's what. So what type of error is generally occurs in case of communication channel? Mostly in case of communication channel, the error that occur, that is, one is random error, another is a burst error. What is random error? Random error is a isolated error. So generally, you can say the random error is not the one bit error is not propagated into the another bit. Okay, so that's why it is called a random. So within your suppose 8 bit of packet of information, the error may occur in the first position, or may occur in the third position, may occur in the fifth position, or seventh or eighth position. So it is not the first position bit is that error is not propagated in the next bit, that is second bit, or second bit error is not propagated into the third bit. So this is called the random error. So if the channel sometimes some types of channel when the information is transmitted, the random error occurs, and it is an isolated bit. So the bit error will tend to have isolated bit flip. So where you are applying channel coding techniques, you can apply the channel coding techniques if the information is digital. So for the data communication or digital bits of transmission, you are applying channel coding technique. So your bits is I1 and 0. Okay, so when the random error is occurred, so your bit is flipped. If it is 1, due to error, it will be flipped into 0. Or if your actual bit is 0, so it will be due to error, random error will be flipped into your 1, like that. So during data transmission, and the bit error are independent of each other. That I have already said that one bit position error is not propagated into the adjacent bit. Clear? And in the burst error, it's a chunk of bits will be affected by the burst error, and it is a contiguous sequence of symbol received over a data transmission channel such that the first symbol and the last symbol are in error. If that means if the first symbol and the last symbol are in error, then in between the first signal and the last symbol, all the bits that also be affected by the condition of the channel, and that type of error is called a burst error. So if the first symbol and the last symbol are in error, and there exists no contiguous subsequence of m correctly received symbol within the error burst. Clear? So if we receive the first symbol is error, so 8 bit of packet, first symbol is error, first bit position is error, and the last, that means 8 bit position is error. So within the first and the last, all the bits are also be in error. So this type of error is called the burst error. Okay, and due to your channel impairment, this error is occurs. So depending on the your error, that means what type of error is occurs. So depending on that, you have to be select your channel coding techniques, either the block code or block code. If it is your Bose-Chaudhary code or Reed-Solomon code or convolution code, what type of convolution code will be suitable for that type of error. So in case of your burst error, interleaving is a method or techniques, or you can say in the other way it is a coding techniques. So interleaving is used in case of wireless communication if your burst error is occurred in your information. So it's a very good techniques to protect the signal or protect the information from the burst error. So now channel model, why we are talking about the channel model, we are considering channel coding techniques, but we are talking about the channel model. What is the importance of the channel model here? So without knowing the channel, you cannot, that means apply the coding techniques. You have to know the characteristics of the channel. So if you know the characteristics of the channel, so you know the when the information is transmitted through the channel, what type of error may occur. So, and based on that, you can choose the channel coding techniques. So that's why we are interested for channel model. Okay, so it is nothing but you are mathematically represented the effect of the communication channel through which the wireless signal are propagated. So you know that this portion, that means your before transmission of your information, because after that there is a channel. So this is the channel free space here because wireless. So before to be apply the channel coding techniques, so you are adding the redundant bit, isn't it? So and similarly, as your information you are modifying by source coding, then channel coding, actual information is modified. So again, you have to be at the receiver section. You have to be decode that information to get back the original information. And to characterize the channel or to know the characteristics of the channel, you have to be model the channel. You are mathematically representing the effect of the communication channel through which your wireless signal are propagating. So channel model can be represent the power loss incurred by the signal as it travels through the wireless media. Okay, so based on your channel model, you can easily calculate how much of the power loss may occur. So power loss here in the terms of power loss means your bit error, because it is a digital transmission of information, bit error. Okay? So how much of bit error is occur? So here we are considering, that's why the channel characteristics of the channel model. Then we are representing the channel by means of some mathematical model. And in case of wireless communication system, the fading that occurs, I think this thing already discussed Hontu sir in his class. So again, I am repeating this thing. So in case of your wireless communication system, so mostly the fading that occurs, that is large scale fading and the small scale fading. So in the left side, I have shown the classification, fading types, the large scale fading and the small scale fading. So large scale fading are path loss and the shadowing, and the small scale fading is the multipath propagation. This is mostly due to the multipath propagation that is already I have discussed in our introduction class. And the large scale fading, this is long-term variation in the mean signal level caused by the mobile unit moving into the shadow of the surrounding object. Means there is number of objects are there and you are moving and your signal is obstructed by the number of objects. So that means you are in the shadow of the number of objects. These are mostly occurs in case of terrain places, that means in case of hilly area. So long-term shadowing, this type of fading, due to the variation in radio signal power due to encounter in the terrain obstruction, such as hills and man-made structure, high-rise building, man-made structure such as building. Okay, so it is also be in the urban area, there are large tall building are there, that means office building, also complexes nowadays, large complexes are there. So these types of large scale fading may occur in case of your hilly area as well as in the urban area. And the measured signal power differ substantially at different location, even though at the same radial distance from the transmission. That means as you are within the shadow of number of objects, that means the receiver is within the shadow of the number of objects. So obviously the transmitted signal is obstructed by the number of objects that are obstruction. These are it's called the obstruction of the receiver. So that's why your signal strength when it is received at the receiver section, it is goes down. So many empirical studies demonstrate that the received mean power fluctuate about the average power with a log normal distribution. That means these types of shadowing can be described by the log normal distribution. Mostly for if your channel has this shadowing effect, you can model the channel by Gaussian channel and Gaussian random variable with standard deviation delta. So for that that means I am saying that the error. So error is occurs due to your channel condition. So if the channel condition is in the shadowing, that means a large scale your fading techniques. So for that cases, you have to model the channel by Gaussian distribution. Okay. And for small scale fading, that is multipath propagation, already I have discussed, that is your Doppler spread and also multipath delay. So this thing, this is also be in urban area. This is transmitter, this is the receiver. So from there is a line of sight. One is A is your line of sight propagation, and a number of secondary paths are there. It is diffracted by the sharp object. It is reflected by this house, or there are number of objects are there in the surface. So it will be in the ground, earth ground. So it will be scattered by this rough surface. So actual your signal strength is there, but when it's received at the receiver section, so it will be propagated through the number of paths. So here you are getting the combining effect of the all paths. And obviously there is a different path length. So when it's combined here, there will be phase delay and the path length difference. So obviously signal strength will be either destructive or constructive in nature. So it is destructive in nature. So it is there, goes down. So this is here the multipath fading, and this is called a short-term fluctuation in the signal amplitude caused by the local multipath. Clear? So the multipath fading is small scale fading that describes the short-term rapid amplitude fluctuation of the received signal during a short period of time. So for a momentarily your signal strength is go down. Okay. So this is the due to the short time fading effect or multipath propagation, and this is the local. Actually, this is the due to your small scale fading that describes the short term rapid amplitude fluctuation of the received signal during a short period of time. This is the local phenomenon actually. The actual power received over a much smaller distance vary considerably due to the destructive and the constructive interference of multiple signals that follow the multiple path through the receiver. This thing already I have described using the figure. The direct ray actually made up of many rays due to scattering multiple times by obstruction along its path, all traveling about the same distance. So there is a direct path of a line of sight propagation, but this line of sight propagation is obstructed by the number of objects are present between the transmitter and the receiver. Each of these rays appearing at the receiver will differ randomly in amplitude and phase due to the scattering. It is found. So in the previous case, when we are considering the shadowing, that is a large scale fading, we are describing the channel, model the channel. For that type of your fading, we are characterizing by either log normal distribution or Gaussian distribution. Mostly we are using the Gaussian distribution. But in case of your short time, the small scale fading, or the fading that is momentarily very high, so that can be your model by using your either Rayleigh distribution or Gaussian distribution. In case of Rayleigh distribution, if there is your line of sight propagation along with multiple path propagation, other secondary path of propagation, for that case we are using the Gaussian distribution, and otherwise we can go for the Rayleigh distribution. So based on that, you have to choose your channel coding techniques. Now, finite state model of the channel. So we are describing the channel as a discrete channel, and finite state, you know the finite state machine means this is you are representing the machine by state diagram. This is called a finite state machine. So finite state channel is used to denote all the elements of a communication system that lie between any 2 points A and B in the system. See here, A and B. So this is your channel and this is demodulator. So this noise is actually, it is showing arrow here, but actually this should be at the channel position. So your finite state channel is used to denote all the elements of the communication system that lie between any 2 points A and B in the system, where the input entering at point A is the symbol xk. So here your symbol is xk because you are coding your information. So this is your xk, and the output of the system B is another symbol sequence related to the input sequence, that is yk. So here it's yk. So why it is yk and why you are denoting here xk? Because you code your information before the modulate the information, then you transmit the information through your antenna. And so here is A is nothing but your encoded information. So you are adding already redundant bit you have added along with your information at the position A. So this is A. So that's why you are representing the input sequence or symbol as xk here, and this is the input of the decoder. So what you are receiving at the input of the decoder, after that it decodes the information and you get back the original information that is sent from the, actually originated from the your source. So in between source and your sink or destination, number of elements are there. So your information is modified. This portion information is modified, modulation portion is modified. Then obviously the channel number of impairment mixed with your information. So your decoder portion at the input of the decoder is very important because we are considering the channel coding. So encoder and decoder is very, very important. So the B is your yk, that is the input of the decoder, and xk is the output of the encoder. So this thing is mentioned here. Usually A will be the output of channel encoder and the transmitter, and B will be the input of the decoder. And the finite state implies a visualization of the channel as being one of the several identifiable conditions or states that I have already mentioned. So you are representing, that means describing the channel as a finite state channel, means finite state machine, and representing the channel by state diagram. So channel can be classified because in this case we are considering the discrete source, means your information is discrete. Okay. So the discrete channel is finite state channel, can also be classified as memory-less channel and memory channel. Already I have said some of the coding technique is suitable for memory channel, some of the coding techniques are suitable for memory-less channel. So this discrete channel means the finite state channel. This discrete channel or finite state channel can also be classified as a memory-less channel and memory channel. So first category is the memory-less channel or memory-less model. It is considered as degenerate case of the general class because such model have only a single state. Because memory-less, I am talking about the memory-less. That means we are considering the characteristics of channel. All these things is based on the independent. Here is independent, means we are considering only the single state. It's not the current state is dependent on the previous state or the next state. Okay, so it is a memory-less. So that's why we are considering the single state. So memory-less channel are used to model the transmission error or the transition from input to the output under the assumption that there is no temporal correlation in the transition mechanism. That means temporal, it is not time dependent, isn't it? So that's why I'm saying that the current state, as it is dependent only memory-less, so it is depends only we are considering the when we are characterizing the channel, it is based on the single state channel, that is the independent channel. It is not time dependent. So the current state is not depends on the either previous state or the future state. So it is no temporal correlation. So one state is not dependent on there is no correlation between the states. So that is the probability of transition or error in the nth input symbol is not affected by what happened to the other input symbol. So as it is not correlated, there was no temporal correlation. So obviously it is a memory-less. And so the each input symbol, that means if the yk instant error is occurs, that yk instant error depends only on the xk input. Yk is the input that is received by the decoder. Clear? So that is error. If it is a error is occurs, so that error depends only that information, that is the xk that is transmitted, but it's not depends on the xk minus 1 or yk minus 1. It's not depends on that. So this is called the memory-less model. It's clear to you? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the second class of is the finite state model are applicable to situation where the transition from the input symbol to the output symbol are temporarily correlated, means they are time dependent. So it is a memory channel. The probability of transition for the nth symbol is correlated with the transition of the preceding and the following symbol. So this is actually called the memory channel, and this will be the case in system that have fading and impulse response. So clear in this case? So if the channel is memory channel, too much fading is there, so for that case you have to go for the convolution coding. And what type of that means channel characteristics, can you represent that error by Gaussian representation or your Rayleigh distribution or the Gaussian distribution? Depending on that, you have to choose the your coding techniques. And temporal correlation of the signal amplitude variation due to fading will cause the transmission error to be correlated. So correlated means burst error. Means first bit position error, that error will be propagated into number of bits, number of following bits. Similarly, if the third bit position or some bits error is occurs in the third position, so it will be depending on the previous bit, that is the second bit or maybe the first bit. So this is so chunk of bits will be in error. So this type of your channel, if we model the channel by this as a temporal correlation is there, so variation characteristics of the channel will be such that. So for that case, you have to be choose different coding techniques. So error will tend to occur in burst, and these channel are referred to as burst error channel or channel with memory. Clear this thing? So what is memory channel and what is memory-less channel? So what is memory coding and what is memory-less coding? So based on that error, you have to be choose the memory coding or memory-less coding. Now discrete memory-less channel. How you characterize discrete memory-less channel? In case of discrete memory-less channel, your error are independent. Error is not dependent here, error are independent. So for that case, the probability transition, in this case transition probability, so can be represented by this, the product of all. A discrete memory-less channel is defined by an input alphabet or input symbol, whatever you say, X, and output alphabet or symbol Y. X or Y are discrete because your signal you are transmitting in digital form. And transition probability or the condition probability, that will be the use for that case. That is, Y is the output, Yn is the output nth time when the input is transmitted xn in the nth time. It is not depend on the n-1 or other. And for that case, you are representing, that will be the product form, product of each. So if I vary I, so obviously y2 is depend only the x2. I3 is depend on, y3 is depend on the x3. So independent. Clear? So we assume that the noise induced by the channel has no memory, that is act independently across time. So the noise effect, each symbol affect each symbol independently, and for memoryless channel, detector output in a given interval depend only on the symbol transmitted in that interval and not on the previous interval, a previous transmission. Okay, so our goal is to ensure that the receiver means here we are interested only on the decoder part. The decoder is able to recover the message correctly. So as we are considering the channel coding techniques, so channel coding and decoding obviously. So why we are considering so much thing, discrete channel, memoryless channel? Because our goal is for reliable transmission of information. Reliable transmission of information means, that is you can recover the data or the information at the receiver with less error. So or recover the message information in such a way that if error is occur, but that error is within your tolerable range, and faithfully you can easily identify the information that is generated from the source. So this is the main goal of our channel coding and decoding technique. And out of this discrete memory-less channel, one is simplest channel, is called the binary symmetric channel. So binary symmetric channel, is a very simple discrete memory-less channel where X is the input. See here in the figure it is shown. This is the input and this is the output. So X is input and Y is the output. So X is, as is a discrete, so it's maybe 0 or 1, and your output is also be binary, so it will be 0 and 1. Now, if the channel some error is occurred, so this 0 will be flipped as 1. So 0 will be received as 1 at the receiver because of the error within the channel, and the probability of the error is P. So Y, that is Y is 1 when X is 0. So X 0, your information is 0 is transmitted, but that is received as 1 at the receiver section due to the channel impairment or channel error condition, and the probability of the error is denoted by P. Similarly, 1 is transmitted, but it is received as 0 at the receiver section because of the noise. So obviously the probability equally probable. So it is also we are considering P. And the correctly received probability, so obviously your total probability is 1. So correctly, so 0 is transmitted, 0 is received. So it will be 1 minus P, as error in probability is P. So it will be 1 minus P. 1 is transmitted, correctly received as 1, so 1 minus P. So because of this simplicity of this model is very much useful. And in this case, it is a independent, that means it is the that means random error, this type of channel model is used. And as it is a very simple model, so this type of model is mostly used. And in this case, the decoder has to take the decision either 1 or 0, very firm decision, either 1 or 0. So, or hard decision. So your decoder design will be hard decoder. In this case, the decoder design will be hard decoder. Decoding of the binary symmetric channel is hard decoding, and it is a special case of discrete memory-based channel. Clear? Another channel is called binary erasable channel. Binary erase channel. So, what is binary erase channel? This is also be useful. In case of binary erase channel, input condition is 2. See here, X is the input alphabet, Y is the output. That means X is your transmitted and Y is the received at the input of the decoder. So X is 0 and 1, but output at the input of the decoder is 0, E and 1. So correctly received is 1 minus P, probability, transition probability, and correctly received 1 as 1 is 1 minus P, same previous case, but 1 is not, that means that is received as 0 or 0 cannot receive as 1. So it may be anything else. So it's some error, it is defined by some error. For this channel, its value is defined by error, E. So the 0 to 0 receive as error, it may be 1, maybe in between 0 and 1, the probability is P. Similarly, 1 is received as any error, that is by P. Clear? So it is, if the signal, in this case, the purpose of the decoder for this case, the BEC or binary erase channel, that the decoder only detects the error, it cannot correct the error. That means if it is not correctly received, 0 is not correctly received as 0, some detect some error is there, so it will be ask for or request for the retransmission of the information. So if a signal is received in error, it is marked as error and discarded, and retransmission is requested to the transmitter using reverse channel till the correct received output. That means correct received output means 0 receive as 0, 1 receive as 1. Okay. Similarly, we can also be characterize the channel by the additive white Gaussian noise channel. Mostly, always in case of communication system, we are considering additive white Gaussian noise channel. There is some advantage. I think all of you know why we are considering the Gaussian noise. So for this case, your distribution will be this type. See here, your distribution, if I say the distribution is continuous. Distribution is not discrete. If we consider the additive white Gaussian noise channel, isn't it? For when you are modeling the channel by means of additive white Gaussian noise channel, in previous cases, your output is discrete value. This thing also be discrete value. But here, output is not discrete. So for this case, that means continuous channel here, channel modeling is continuous. This is not a discrete channel. The input and output alphabet are continuous. So for these cases, your decoder design will not be the hard decoder. Decoding technique will not be the hard decoding technique. Demodulator output consists of continuous alphabet. Demodulator is said to make soft decision. Decoding of Gaussian channel is called soft decision decoding. Okay. So if we use the block code for this purpose, the design of block code will be much more complex. So this block code, when you are use the block code for to code your information, mostly we are using the hard decoding technique. And if your channel you are characterizing by this type, that is additive white Gaussian noise channel, for that case you have to be choose the convolution code, because convolution code your decoding is a soft decoder is used, and this is mostly purpose. Hard decoder can also be designed, but hard decoder in this case, if we use the convolution code with hard decoder, that will be complex design, very very difficult to realize. So manage the convolution decoder design. So that's why we are considering the Viterbi algorithm for decoding techniques of the convolution coding, and it is very much effective in case of your wireless communication system. So this thing already I have said, that thing is already mentioned again here. When the received signal is made of multiple reflective rays plus a significant line of sight component, the received envelope has a Gaussian probability density function. That thing already I have mentioned. And Rayleigh fading occur when there are multiple indirect paths between transmitter and receiver and no line of sight propagation. Okay. An additive white Gaussian noise and Gaussian channel provide fairly good performance corresponding to an open country environment. Open country means that is a free space. And free space means that means not too much congested area. But Rayleigh distribution, this is mostly suitable in case of your mostly in city, town, where number of objects are there. Rayleigh channel, the best describe the urban environment fairly, provide relatively worse performance. Clear? So this thing. So where you can use the which your probability distribution function is used for for that will be based on your environment, that means, or depend on your spatial, that means that your places, or you can say the depending on the environment where you are using your techniques. This is another channel, Gilbert-Elliott channel. This is actually used for the Basti error condition. There is a good channel or the bad channel. Concept is the channel is good or bad. So in this case, two conditions are shown here. So one is the good channel, another is a bad channel. And for that case, two probability function is used. One is P1 and P2. P1 is a condition good, that means too much burst error is occurred, but it's not too much. Suppose the burst error is within the packet, 2-3 bits are in burst error. So sometimes the burst error may occur, the whole packet is lost. That means whole package is lost in the sense whole package is damaged or totally erroneous. So, or most of the bits are erroneous. Out of 8 bits of packet, that means 7 bits within the packets are in burst error. So that is due to the channel condition. And for that cases, you can model for that channel as a bad channel. Clear? So Gilbert-Elliott channel is mostly used for the Basti wireless channel, and this is a discrete time stationary model. It can be classified as a good channel and the bad channel with different probability distribution. It is one is P1, another is P2. For the good channel, we are considering the probability, transition probability P1, or probability of error is P1, and for the bad channel, the probability of error is P2. Now the error correction code, already I have said that before the preceding the error correction, there should be the error detection. Okay. So when the error correction, so transmit enough redundant data to allow receiver to recover from error all by itself. Error correction means no retransmission of information. So no sender retransmission required. So delay will be less. So this is the main concept. So transmit enough redundant data to allow receiver to recover from error all by itself. It's not possible all by itself. That's why the probability of each are 10 to the power minus 6, 10 to the power minus 5. Okay. So major category or classification, whatever you say, of error correction code, that is, you can also say the forward error correction, linear block code, convolution code, trellis code, TCM, trellis coded modulation, where in case of trellis coded modulation techniques, where modulation and coding techniques both are combined. In this case, you are combining modulation techniques as well as coding techniques, and also turbo coding. So turbo coding is nothing but the recursive addition of the convolution coder. And in case of your convolution coding, trellis coded modulation and the turbo coding, always we are going for the soft decoding techniques. Whereas in case of linear block code, which is also be classified different types, cyclic code, Reed-Solomon code. Reed-Solomon is a non-binary code, and for that case, your decoder design will be hard decoder. So before going to your coding techniques, some nomenclature should be known. Before that, for designing any coder, if I say the K is your message bit or the information bit, and you are adding the parity bit or the check bit. That is the redundant bit that you are adding along with your message bit or the information bit. So your message bit is k number of bits. You are added the R number of your redundant bit to combat the error. So the coder length will be, when you transmit the information, the packet of information, the length of the information will be n, it will be k plus R. So code rate, when you are mentioning any code, you are mentioning the code as a 7/4 with code rate half, code rate 1/3, like that. What is the meaning of that? So code rate is very important when you are designing any code. So code rate R, capital R here, is message bit by total length. So your coder design will be much more your efficient, or you can say robust design will be such that the code rate will be as low as possible. Code rate will be code rate will be as close to your 1, because if we add the redundant bits, obviously the denominator will be increases, so it will be decreases. So that's why it will be half code rate, 1/3 code rate, 1/4, like that. Okay. So we are trying to add less number of redundant bits, but to give your performance that will be within our tolerable range. So you are compromising, because when you are adding too much redundant bits, so obviously your bandwidth requirement will be increases. So you have to be trade-off between the bandwidth requirement and the performance of the bit error. So this is the redundancy or redundant bit. How much of redundant bit you are adding or redundancy is denoted by n minus k. Decoder looks for code word closest to the receive vector. So how decoder that means take the decision whether it is a error or not, or how it is correct the error. So receive vector or receive that is code, that is code vector plus error vector. That means code means n, but this code, when it is transmitted through the channel, some plus e, if I say e is the error, some e is added with your that is a code vector. So that is your error vector here. So you have to be a trade-off, because in this case your when you are adding this redundant bit, so your code length is increases. So you have to be trade-off between efficiency, that is a bit energy, that is the energy per bit by noise power. Also your power versus bandwidth, reliability versus bandwidth requirement. Reliability means you are adding the coding, that means you are adding your redundant bit for reliable transmission of information. That means reliably you can extract the information at the receiver section. So to increase the reliability of your information, you are adding the redundant bit, but your bandwidth is increases, so you are trade-off between your reliability as well as the bandwidth. And encoding decoding complexity. Obviously, to get better performance, we are going for the better coding techniques. When you are going for better coding techniques, obviously your complexity increases. So depending on the application, so you have to go for that. And channel capacity also. So maximum number of user per cell is inversely proportional to signal to noise ratio, or energy per bit to noise ratio. Okay. So when you are adding this last point. What is the meaning of the last point? Because we are considering in the wireless communication, so it's also depends on the channel capacity. The channel bandwidth is limited. So to get the better performance, we are adding more and more number of redundant bits. So each user, suppose user consume more bandwidth. So obviously, so your channel bandwidth is fixed. So obviously your channel capacity is fixed. So obviously you cannot accommodate more user within the channel. So you have to be compromise all these things. So your channel capacity, your reliability of data, your efficiency, encoding, decoding complexity, all these things you have to be compromised. Based on that, you have to be design the coder. So already you have studied that the parity check coding and decoding techniques. So even parity check and odd parity check, if within your bit there is a odd number of bits for odd parity system, so then it will be add 1. If it is a even parity system, then it will be add 1. So like that. So parity is nothing but check code use linear sum of the information. In case of coding techniques, always we are considering XOR operation. Okay. Here, in this case, not just like a simple addition. It is always XOR operation. So parity check codes use linear sum of the information bits called parity symbol or parity bits for error detection and the correction. A single parity check code is constructed by adding a single parity bit to the block of data bits. Here block of data bits 1 0 0 1 0. Okay. So if we XORing this thing, so it will be gives you 0. So it is an even parity system. So if it is even parity system, so that is a 0. So no parity bit is added. 0 parity bit is parity bit here is 0. Parity bit is added, but the bit value is 0. Now for this second row, see here, as it is an even parity based system, when you are XORing this thing, output will gives you, the summation will gives you 1. So that's why to make it 0, so again 1 is added. So your parity bit value is 1. Similarly for the third row, 2 1, so it is 0. And the fourth row, 4 1, so obviously that also be even parity, even number of 1, so obviously 0. So odd number of 1, parity bit will be 1, even number of 1, parity bit value will be 0. So a single parity check code is constructed by adding a single parity bit to the block of data bit and summation of all bit in the code word and even. If it is a odd parity, so for that case it will be 1, this will be 0, this will be 1, this will also be 1. Okay. So this thing is written over summation is XOR operation, and at receiver the decoding procedure consists of testing a modulo 2 operation. So when if you decode this thing, so how you are decoding? You are again adding 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0. Okay, along with parity bit, you have to be add the information. So at the receiver, decoding procedure consists of testing the modulo 2 sum of the receiver. So now this is your actually information. This is redundant bit. So your code length is now it is 5. This is your N, and this is your K, and this red one is your R. So what thing receiver receive? Receiver receive is 1 0 0 1 0 0. So receiver receive this thing. So you are adding the XORing the 5 bits instead of the 4 bits. So if it is 0, so for even parity system no error is detected. And here code rate will be, if I say this is K, so 1 bit is added, parity bit is added, so obviously code rate will be K plus 1. Clear this thing? Similarly, as it is a 2D, two-dimensional parity check code, so I am considering the row-wise, similarly column-wise also. So for this case, 3, 1. So again, to make it even, another 1 is added. This is 2, 1. So no, it is 0. Parity bit value is 0. Here also parity bit value 0. Here parity bit value 1. And this thing, parity bit value 1 again. Okay. And this is the your parity bit. But here, to make it even, again another thing you are adding. Clear? And in this case, your code rate is decreases. Why code rate is decreases here? Because row wise you are adding parity bit as well as column wise. Here I am only adding one row wise, one column wise. You can add 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 depending on your requirement. So code rate is increases m cross n divided by m plus 1 cross n plus 1. This rectangular code can correct any single error patterns. The error is uniquely located at the intersection of the error detecting row and error detecting column. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1. 4, 1 in the row. So what is parity bit you are adding? 0. Isn't it? Here 0, 0, 0, 1. It is odd. So you are adding here because it is a odd. So to make it even you are adding 1. So in this intersection, if I say in this intersection, this is 0, but this is 1. So this way you can correct the error. If any error is occurs, you can correct the error. If I go for an example, it will be clear. So I will go for the Hamming code. Hamming code is an error detection and correction code. With a single bit error can be detected by using the Hamming code. Hamming code is based on the parity code. This uses simple parity, allows detection of a single bit error in a received message using one parity bit correction. One parity bit correction is possible. It's a wrong statement actually. Correction of the error require more. So in Hamming code, parity bit are generated in slightly different way than how it is generated in the parity code. Hamming code serves this purpose and correct a single bit error. Okay. Only single bit error can be corrected by Hamming code. How? Now consider a Hamming code 7-4 Hamming code. Now, what is 7-4 Hamming code? What is the meaning of 7-4? 7-4 is the meaning is that 7 is your n. N means after coding, that means the code length. N is the code length. So it is after adding redundant bit. And n, that is, you can say this is, if I say, just a minute, this will be actually n k, which is, see, 7-4 means n k. N is your code length, k is the message bit. So n is your, after adding redundant bit, so how many redundant bit is added? 3 bit is added and your message bit is 4. Actual information is 4 and you are adding 3 redundancy with the a information bits and code length is here n. So 4 data bit D we are denoting which is to be transmitted at 7-bit forward by adding 3 error control bit. Clear? And we are considering the 3 parity bits to be added are 3 even parity bits. So this code we are designing, 7/4 Hamming code we are designing, that are even parity based system. We are considering the bit position in the figure 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How we are adding the parity bit here? Can we add the parity bit just like a fashion? First 4 bit is data bit, next 3 bit is the parity bit? No. In this case, there is a system or generation follows some rules in case of Hamming code. How the parity bit is inserted within your code word. It is in between and where it follows some rules. What is the rules? See here, our data bit data bit is 4 and we are denoting the data bit as D3, D5, D6, D7. That means D3 means the bit position 3, bit position 5, bit position 6 and 7 we are just considering the data bit, and rest of the position we are considering the parity bits P1, P2 and P4. Is it same for any Hamming code? If the Hamming code is your 6-3, it will be same? No, it will be changed. It is follow some rule. How? The rules? Every bit position in the bit string where the position is in the form of 2 to the power I for some integer I will contain a parity bit. See here, if it is, I have already explained that is for more get a clear idea. I am showing by the red that is red color I have written over here. So the bit position 1, this is 2 to the power 0. 2 to the power 0 means 1. So 2 to the power I. So this position you are place a parity bit. Now this bit position 2, this is also be in the form of 2 to the power I, because I is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n. I is an integer. So for 1 it will be 2. So we are placing that bit position by a parity bit. Now 3, 2 to the power 2. No, 2 to the power 2 is not 3, 2 to the power 2 is 4. So fourth position we are placing a parity bit. Clear? And the rest of the position, bit position, we are that is place the for your the data bit. Clear what I am saying? This thing is clear? Because in this way you have to be design the Hamming code. So in your exam that design will be based on this rule, but it is not that I am showing in the example. So you have to be understand what is how the rule, how you are placing the parity bit in the data bit in different bit position. This thing is clear to you? Hello?
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this thing is explained in this that 4 point that I am saying. And at the receiver section, how you are receiving? So at the receiver section, you are receiving that P1, P2, D3, P4, D5, D6, D7. So this thing either 1 or 0. To get a clear idea, I am placing P1, P2, P3, but actually this will be 1 or 0 bit. So you are receiving as a P1, P2, D3, P4, D5, D6, D7. Okay. Now, this code word, when it transmits through the channel, due to your channel characteristics, it will be it will be some error may occur. So what will be the effect? Some bit will be flipped. So error. That error may be occurs in P1, it may be occur D3, it may be occur D5 or maybe P4, any position you don't know. Now at the receiver, how will we check? How will we detect the error? So based on this parity bit, you have to be detect the error. So to detect the error at the receiver side, some check bits are needed. The parity bits P1, P2, P4, it will be either 1 or 0 because you are binary system. So these parity bits are linear function of the information bits. Now this parity bits 1 or 0. So you know the data bit or information bit, you already know. So what is your information? But how the parity bit P1, P2 and P4, what should be the value of P1, P2 and P4? It is 0 or 1. How you choose the value? That also we follow some rules. So to generate the parity bit, we are checking which data bit contribute to the power jth position of the parity bit. What is this thing? First parity bit P1. If we consider the P1, so 2 to the power 0. So position is 2 to the power 0. That is 1. That position is 2 to the power 0. So see, our data bit is D3, D3, D4, D5, D7. So J equal to 0 means 2 to the power 0. 2 to the power 0 is equal to 1. That is the bit position number 1. So the J0, J1, J2, if I say our bit is 4 bits, so obviously 4 bit we are considering J0, J2, J1, J2 and J3. Now for the data bit D3, if I say data bit D3, how we are in binary representation? 4 bit, using the 4 bit, it will be 0011. Clear? So in the 0011, J0, so J0 for P1, already I have said that P1 is 2 to the power 0. That means 0th position, this is P1, parity bit 1. Now we are considering which data bit contain 1 in the 0th position. Clear? So 0th position, the data bit D3 is 0011, so it is 1. Data bit 5, 0101, it also be 1. Data bit 7, 0111. If I consider the data bit 4, so it will be 0100. So it's not contribute for the generation of the parity bit P1. So which out of these 4 data bits, which data bits will contribute for the generation of the parity bit? Actually, parity bit generation will be depending on the data bit, its value 1 or 0 depending on the data bit. It will be nothing but the linear sum of data bits. Now, out of the 4 data bits, how many bits will be added for the generation of the parity bit? That will be follow these rules. So here data bit 357 for the generation of the P1, it will be contribute. Similarly, if I consider P2, that means P2 means 2 to the power 1. That means 2 to the power 1. So 2 to the power 1, see here, 2 to the power 1. So in this position, if I consider 2 to the power 1 position, out of these 4 data bit, which data bit will be 1? See here, if I say J0, J1, J2, J3, so the second position. So in the second position, data bit D3 is on, data bit 6 is also on, and 7. So these 3 data bits will be contribute in the generation of the P2. Similarly, for the D4, D4 means which position? D4, 2 to the power 2. So 2 to the power 2 means, oh, this is wrong actually. This is wrong. Okay. 2 to the power 2 means this position. This slide color marking is not. This should be at the position 2. Clear? So that thing it is written J2. So J2 will be this position. So that's why we are considering data bit D5, D6 and D7. Up to this thing is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you are generating the parity bit using the data bit. You cannot choose randomly. If we choose randomly the data bit, so it is very difficult to correct the error. So you are XORing the data bit by following some rules. So this is your coder design, that is the coding techniques. Now at the receiver section, you check the error and correct the error. So at the receiver section, what you are receiving? You are receiving P1, P2, D3, D4, P4, D5, D6 and D7. Now you add, this is check bit 0, check 3 parity bits is there. So obviously there will be 3 check bits. Check bit 0, check bit 1, check bit 2. Now check bit 0. Check bit 0, the red line is connected to D7, D5, D3. Why? Because this check bit 0 is for parity bit P1. Parity bit P1, D3, D5, D7. So at the receiver, that was this slide is for the transmitter. You are generating the parity bit. Now at the receiver, you are checking the error. How you are checking the error? Now parity bit is already appended with your information based on some rules. Now you check. Here also you are using 3 checker. 3 check bit consists of 3 bits. And as for the first checker, the first check bit, so you are adding, XORing the data bit D3, D5, D7 along with P1. And as it is an event parity based system, we are considering the event parity based system. If after addition gives 0, so that means no error is occurs. If I get this is 1, this is 0, this is 1, this is 0, obviously 0, XORing operation 0, because this is red line. See, check 0 means red line means D7, D5, D3 and P1, because D3, D5, D7 contribute in the generation of the parity bit P1. So at the receiver, when you check the parity bit P1 will be added with that bits that are responsible for the generation of the parity bit P1. Clear? Similarly for check bit 1. Check bit 1 was P2. So for that case, it was D3, D6 and D7. Similarly for check bit, third check bit. So third check bit is P4 is added with D5, D6 and D7. Clear? So this thing is already shown here. If it is a event parity based system, so XORing operation should get 0. If it is odd parity, so it should be 1. So this way you are checking is there any error or not. if error is there, so you have to be correct the error. How you correct the error? I am just giving an example based on the Hamming code. So suppose the message is 1101. Your message is 1101. This is the 4-bit message, and we are considering 7-4 Hamming code. And how many your parity bit you are adding? 3 parity bit. So which position? In this case, 7 bit position is 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So out of these 7, which of the position you replace the data bit? 7, 6, 7, 6, 3, 7, 6, 3, and 2. Clear? And rest of the position, your parity bit. Rest of the position is the parity bit you have set. Same previous case. Your data bit is D7, D6, D5, and rest are the parity bit. Okay. So this thing is shown that 1100 means this thing. 1100, 110. 1100, 110. Okay. Now suppose the message 1100, 110 is sent from transmitter and a single bit error occurs. Now the bit error is occurred 111. 0, 110. If we compare this thing and this thing, this is same. 1100, 110 is same. 1100, 110 is same. And what you are receiving? 111. So this position is 0. That means 5th bit position is 0. Okay. 5th bit position is 0. 1 is received at the receiver. So it is received at the receiver 111, 0, 110. The above error in bit position 5 can be corrected by examining which of the 3 parity bit was affected by the bad bit. Okay? So now how you check? In this case, what is considering here? This is even, this is even, this is even. Okay. So for the even position, first 1 and 1 odd position, 1, as we are considering the even parity, so the 1 and other 2 position replacing 0 and 3 parity bit in 3 position. So gives you the even parity based system. Similarly here, these 2 are 1, these 2 are 1, and 3 parity is replacing, and that also gives you the even parity. Now these are 1, 0, 0, and the rest 3 is also the 3 parity bits. This also gives you the even parity based system. Now your receive sequence, see here, 1100, 110. This is 7-bit code 1. Achha, 1. Next is, if I say this is your parity bit, this is you have received 0. Next is parity bit. Next is your data bit. Again 0. Parity bit and 0. So it is one even parity based system. So this is based on this data bit. Okay. Now again we are considering these two are 1. These are your parity bit you are replacing. These two are 1. This is even parity. So if I use this way, so you can, that means 4 bit along with parity bit is added. Now what you are receiving 1110, here is some error. When it is transmitted, this was 0, but now you are receiving 1 and all bits are same. Now using this same rules, using the same rule at the transmitter for even parity based system, that is, if I use the that is the first position is your data, next is parity bit, then it was 0 receive signal, again fourth position is the parity bit, it is data bit, parity bit, data bit, and you add all these things. If we add all these things, you are receiving the even parity XOR operation. So if we follow, see here the first alternate, then data alternate parity, data alternate parity, data alternate parity. Next is 2 data alternate parity, 2 data alternate parity. Third is, that is the data, then 3 parity. Now here also same rules is followed. Data alternate parity, data parity, data parity, data. Now when you are adding, actual this should be the even parity based system. It is given parity, check, it is given parity, no. Again, what was the next rule? Next rule was 2 data, then 2 parity. This is actually something is wrong here. 2 data, 2 parity. Okay. So it is even 2 data, 2 parity, 2 data. So it also be even. So this is also be wrong. So 1, this will be dash dash, it will be your 1 1. So it is also be okay. Next one was 4 message data and 4 parity. So if we add the 4 message, this is also be check, is it even? No, it is not even. So you can check this way also. So this way also you can also check. So this is not shown here actually. So you can also be checked this way, right, our previous method or this method also. So if this is not, that means this is even already checked, this is also be even checked. Sorry, not even, because 1 1 1. So you are getting not even parity, that is replacing by 1. Not even, is it even parity? Yes. So it is 0. If it is a even parity, if it is even parity or not, it is not even parity, so it is 1. So negation means 1, and that is when it is positive, that is 0. So 1 0 1. So you are detecting 1 0 1. When it is not, that is even parity, that means some error is occurred. But which bit position error? So bit position error is 1 0 1. That means the binary it is 5. So you can detect the received data, that is received data is 1 1 1 0 1 1 0. That is received data at the bit position 1, there is an error. Okay. So this way, by using the Hamming code, you can easily detect and correct the error. So this is one method, but I discussed this method. Using this method, you can also be easily detect and correct the error. Clear? So you check by using this method. This is your assignment. This example, that is 1100110. In this case, what will be the parity bit? That means parity bit is this position is parity bit, this is parity bit, and also parity bit is this position. So P1, P2, and P4, and rest D3, D5, D6, and D7. These are the data bit. Clear? So to correct, is there any error or not? For P1, you have to be checked P1. P1 will be 0 is added with, here 0 is added with which bit? 0 is for the receive. You have to check the receive bit. So receive bit is 0, is added with the bit position 2, bit position 4, and bit position 7. So 0. This way you check it is even parity or not. If it is a not even parity, then use the rule. Negation rule is 1 and positive means 0. So identify the bit position and same result you will get. So you check by using the same rule. But in this figure, it is follow different techniques. Just the 1 0 1 0 alternate, then 2 data next to is parity, like that. And this is also another technique. So so Hamming code is also be used for the single bit error correction, detection as well as correction. And detection of 2 error is possible, but correction is not possible. It is only for single error bit correction. Cost of 3 bit added to 4 messages. We are correcting a single bit, but how many bits we are adding redundant bit? 3 bits. So cost of 3 bits is added to correct 1 bit. The ability to correct single bit error comes at a cost which is less than sending the entire message twice. So you can say why we are adding the 3 extra bit only to correct single bit. But for that case, your delay is less because there is no retransmission of information. And when you correct the error, so just flipping, you detect the position, the fifth position is error. What thing you have received the fifth position? 1. So you flip that bit 1 to 0. So you can easily correct the error. So that will be more easy than the retransmission of the information or ARQ technique. So that's why it is effective, much more effective than the ARQ technique. And interleaving, another technique. I'm just going first for interleaving. Interleaving, I have already said for the burst error, it is mostly used for interleaver. And what is the purpose of the interleaver? Purpose of the interleaver, it's to, that means in case of burst error, number of adjacent bits are in error. So by using the interleaving technique, you separate the adjacent bit. How? See here. Our input bit is A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, like this. Now in these bits, there is a error. So how you, these bits is when it goes to the interleaver, you read this way. Within the interleaver, you write the information A1, A2, A3, A4, just serially, row-wise, A5, A6, A7, up to A16. So sender writes row by row in the interleaver. But when it leaves from the interleaver, it will be column-wise. So first will be A1, then A5. So what is the gap between 2 bits? A2, A3, A4. Now 3 gaps. Again, after A5, 9. So gap is 3 again. So it will be A5, A1, A5, A9, A30. Clear? Now, this is actually your transmitted data passed through the transmission channel. Why you are separating the adjacent bits? Because the adjacent bits are mostly correlated bits. Suppose A1 is attenuated or damaged due to your noise in the channel. As you are separating the next bit A2 far apart from the A1, where after 3 bits, there is a gap of 3 bits. So it will be the chances of less effect of noise compared to this. So if we transmit this way, so burst error will be treated as a random error, isolated error. So it will not affect the next bit position. Clear? So this way you transmit the information through the channel, and when you de-interleave, again just reverse back and getting back the same information. So as due to the burst error, the adjacent bits are in error and adjacent bits are more correlated. So you separate by passing the information through the interleaver and just separated the adjacent bits passed through the channel. At the receiver, you apply the de-interleaver. Again, you just reducing the gap, and the same way that is your sender is generated, you can get back that information. This is the concept of the interleaver, and this thing is shown by the example. It also be clear. I will give you the slide, so it will be more clear if we understand the idea of the interleaving. So in this case, see 4, 1 are there. This 4, 1, you are just when you write here, these are replaced. These are your separated. So the if it is a burst error, if 4 bits are burst error, this will be treated as isolated error. So isolated error means your independent error, and that independent error can easily be decoded. It can be easily corrected. But if it is a burst error, so most of the information there is a chances of the lost. So these are the some nomenclature that is used for the coding techniques: Hamming weight, how many numbers of non-zero are contained in the code word, that is called your Hamming weight, and Hamming distance, the distance between 2 code word, how many bit position they differ, that is called the Hamming distance. So in the Hamming weight means the number of non-zero bits within the code word, and the Hamming distance is the 2 code word, the how many bit position they differ. So if I say 1001001, 10001, another code word is 1100. So if we compare the first bit position, black same, this is 0, second bit position, this is 1. So differ in 1 bit position. Next is this 4th bit position, here 4th bit position is 0. Another bit position it is differ. 101, here is 010. So 3 bit position, 3 plus 1, 4 bit position it is in differ. Similarly, here also it is 0, but it is 1. So thus 5. So these 2 code words of same length but differ in bit position 5. So it is the Hamming distance is 5. So these are used for generation of the code. This thing is very important thing. When you generating the code, you have to be some property should follow. What should be the minimum Hamming distance? What is the minimum Hamming weight? So these things should be known before designing any code. So relation between Hamming distance and the error control capacity. So if minimum Hamming distance is 1, error cannot be detected. That means when you are designing the packet of information, that is the packet of information means each packet contains how many bits, that is the code length, total code work. So total packet you are dividing into number of packets, total number of information, actually total length of information you are dividing into number of packets, and each packet suppose contain 8 bits of information. Okay, and the one packet to another packet of information differ in the bit position having distance is 1. So for that case, error cannot be detected. If the minimum having distance is 2, single error can be detected but not be corrected. If packet of information differ in 3 bit position, single error can be corrected. Similarly, if we increase the having distance, so obviously more error can be detected and more error can be corrected. That's why the having distance, why I am this slide we have chosen that the having distance, what is having distance. So when you are designing any coding techniques or coder, so you have to be keep in mind that what should be the minimum having distance, what is our requirement, how much error we can, what is our aim to detect error and correct, how much of error can be detected or corrected. Based on that, when you are choosing your that is the coder, when you are choosing your packet of information and how you are choosing that is a bit value, that also be based on that your error detection and correction will be depends. It will be more clear when we go for the designing any coding technique. So that's all for today. Okay. So up to this thing is clear to you. I will give you all these slides. So I have to correct some of the slides are in error. So I have to correct that thing. So I'll be leaving by email. Okay. This thing is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So just give me your attendance. Just tell me your name actually. I don't have that data, your attendance sheet right now. Sreyoshi. Okay. So from roll number
Yes,
1,
ma'am.
Sreyoshi is there. Sreyoshi, Shurajit, Bobita.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
Bobita.
ma'am.
Okay, then it's Shomili.
Present, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Devanurag,
Yes, ma'am.
Shuchandra,
Yes, ma'am.
then Shuchandra, then is your
Yes, ma'am.
Tuhin,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Abhishek, Shukroga,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Oshit. Hey, Oshit, you joined new, no? He was in our first lecture. I have not seen you. Oshit Das. Oshit Das is displaying. Aditi,
Yes, ma'am.
Orgodi,
Present, ma'am.
then Musarraf.
Present, ma'am.
Any other? Any other left?
Ma'am, Sumit.
Yes, ma'am.
Sumit and
Sudeep Malakar.
Sudip. Sumit.
Yes. Ma'am, Sumit.
Sumit.
Ma'am, Honorable.
Monabil,
And ma'am, Sudeep Malakar.
Sudeep. Any other?
Ma'am, Oindrila Shur.
Moindrila.
Hello, ma'am. Oshit. I am Oshit Das.
Oshit. Oshit, you was absent in the first lecture.
Yes, ma'am.
So 17, no? Total candidate is 17. But it is showing 18. And S. Pal, PhD. Suprabha given your
Okay, ma'am.
attendance.
Ma'am, Surajit Tikadar.
Surajit, I have written your name. Surajit.
Ma'am, Aditi Bhomik.
All. So total is your 18, one is S. Pal, a PhD candidate. Sudipto Pal, outside Calcutta University. Who is Sudipto? Sudipto was not there?
Madam, Ispal. Sudipta Pal, madam.
Sudipto, I have given your attendance.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Ma'am, Sumit.
Okay.
Ma'am, teacher.
Sumit given. Okay, so next class is on next. Friday তোমরা free আছো? Friday কি আছে? কিছু আছে? ও Friday দীপাবলি না কি আছে না? দেওয়ালি। এটা হবে না। ঠিক আছে, so next Monday. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So till then, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
ম্যাম কলেজ কি
Thank
খুলবে?
you, ma'am.
হ্যাঁ?
কলেজ কি খুলবে মানে ফিজিক্যাল ক্লাস কি শুরু হবে 14 বা 15 তারিখ থেকে?
16 মনে তো হয় 16 থেকে সেরকমই আমাদের কাছে আছে, এখনো জানি না মানে খুললে ভালো না খুললে ভালো।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে।
না জিজ্ঞেস করছি খুললে ভালো না খুললে ভালো?
খুললেই ভালো না।
আমার না খুললে ভালো।
এই তো বাড়িতে শুয়ে শুয়ে ক্লাস করছি, কে দেখতে পাচ্ছে? আমি তো ক্যামেরা
ভ্যাকসিনেশন হয়নি এখনো।
ভ্যাকসিনেশন হয়নি? নাওনি কেন? কেন তোমাদের ডেটা দিয়েছে যে ভ্যাকসিনেশন হয়ে গেছে?
আমার তো
না ম্যাম, সবার হয়নি, অনেকের ফার্স্ট ডোজ দিয়ে হয়েছে, ডাবল ডোজ সবার হয়নি।
ঠিক আছে, চলো ইউনিভার্সিটি অথরিটি যা ডিসিশন নেবে মেনে নিতে হবে। ঠিক আছে, ওকে। সো again we'll meet 8th. I think 8 November is the Monday. Okay, so till then, thank you. I'm leaving the meeting.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.